Money and inflation, they remain top of mind for all of us. I mean, we've all seen the high prices, we've felt the sticker shock. Investopedia explains inflation this way. It's what happens when money loses its purchasing power and prices increase over a period of time. The latest report says Americans are seeing the high increases in energy, in food, and in car purchases.
Too many families are struggling to keep up with their bills. Inflation is robbing them of gains they thought otherwise they would be able to feel. I get it. That's why my top priority is getting prices under control.
The president says the economy recovered quicker than expected, and that contributed to the surging inflation. Well, along with those high prices, we've seen supply chain shortages all across every industry, it seems. The Federal Reserve Chair says COVID uncertainty and supply bottlenecks have made inflation worse and have made it last longer.
Demand is strong and bottlenecks and supply constraints are limiting how quickly production can respond. These supply disruptions have been larger and longer lasting than anticipated, exacerbated by waves of the virus, and price increases are now spreading to a broader range of goods and services.
Well, the Russia-Ukraine conflict poses yet another big threat to prices here at home. Experts warn putting more sanctions on Russia could get costly for the U.S. Current ones already are, even at the gas pump. AAA estimates that gas prices jumped 26 cents last month. Gas Buddy is reporting some drivers are paying $4.50 a gallon. And Gas Buddy says they don't see prices going back down anytime soon.
It's not yet known when we will see an organized drop at the pump. If the situation improves in Russia dramatically, we could see prices go down relatively quickly. If something were to happen, say overnight, oil prices could plummet on any development, any positive development in the situation. Beyond that, I don't see a normal decline in gas prices until later this summer or fall.
Well, to try and counter the sanction issues, President Biden announced a plan to dip back into the oil reserves worldwide. He hopes that eases supply issues and drops the price. Well, President Biden made inflation a focal point of his State of the Union address on Tuesday. He says he's going to work hard to bring prices back down. The president says he has an idea where businesses can help.
And so we have a choice. One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans poorer. I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages.
Well, North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis addressed the president's remarks yesterday. He thinks that Biden is out of touch with what everyday Americans are facing.
The president proved that he was tone deaf when he looked at the small businesses in North Carolina that create about 80% of the jobs in North Carolina. He looked them in the eye through the camera and said, cut cost and raise wages. How does that work when their costs have gone up? It almost sounds like he thinks that small businesses are doing fine and they just need to cut their margins.
Well, the Federal Reserve says it will be moving forward with plans to raise interest rates this month. The hope is that it will slow down the quick rise of the prices. Now we're digging into the plan's details and what that could mean for you.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell told lawmakers on Capitol Hill the Federal Reserve still plans to begin a series of interest rate hikes this month as it tries to rein in soaring inflation.
Inflation is too high. We understand that, and we're working on it.
Powell's testimony comes as the national average for a gallon of gas is nearly $1 more than it was last year, according to AAA. Recent federal data shows used car prices are up more than 40%. Eggs are 13% higher, and electricity is up almost 11%.
What we're facing now is, though, an elevated level of demand in the face of supply-side constraints, and it's the collision of those two things that's creating inflation.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the Fed is walking a fine line.
If they don't raise rates quickly enough, then inflation can continue to rise. And conversely, if they really start raising rates too quickly, then they risk really puncturing the hole in this beautiful economy.
The rate hike is expected in 2 weeks at the next Fed meeting. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Well, Wall Street rallied in response to the Fed chairman's comments. The Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ all finished the day 1.5% higher yesterday. A CBS business analyst says this move means very different things for people with different money habits. Great news for people who save, and it could hurt people who borrow. Savers will see higher interest rates on their accounts and their CDs. People who borrow, though, will see the same thing. It just impacts them differently based on their habits. It means that they're paying more for what they're borrowing.
Pay off any of those variable loans as quickly as you can.
Really?
Don't deplete all of your emergency savings, but get a jump on this. This is going to be something that's with us throughout this year and next, so pay down those loans.
Experts believe that savers probably won't see better deals on their accounts until 2 or 3 months after the rates go up. Now, LendingTree says rising interest rates means higher credit card rates. That just kind of goes with it. A bank's prime rate dictates card changes, and that increases with the Fed rates. Several increases over time could get really costly for consumers. LendingTree says people should call their card issuers now to try and negotiate a better rate before they start to rise. Well, the Fed's rate increase doesn't necessarily impact mortgage rates. However, those have gone up to counter high inflation as well. The latest Commerce Department report says mortgage rates sit at 3.25%. It's a big jump from what we saw throughout the pandemic. An economist we spoke with says increasing rates should help normalize the housing market.
In the next 6 months, I would be surprised to see if conditions in the housing market look like they do now because of credit market tightening, because of the demand's just going to dry up because there's a fixed number of people who are looking for these units.
In the meantime, the hot housing market has caused rent to spike as well. A broker told U.S. rent prices in North Carolina jumped more than 25%, and he doesn't know when we could see the market normalize.
Originally, we were assuming that things were going to start to slow down. I mean, heck, when the pandemic started, everything we saw, we assumed everything was going to crash and go down, and then things just heated up and it got even crazier. And now it seems like there's no end in sight.
Yeah, it feels like that for the rising prices as well. We all felt the brunt of price increases everywhere you go. Something costs more. The federal government says its top goal moving forward is to cut down on inflation so that sticker shock can go away. We're going to have to wait and see if that plan will work.